What's up, guys? So Unadilla is in the books and Hayden Deegan didn't clinch the championship. I got some thoughts on that. I think he looks bored out there. I think you're going to see him go to a 450 next year in Supercross. That is my prediction. And I had some people wearing shirts at Unadilla and they got harassed by MX Sports. Are you kidding me? What world do we live in that people who pay to go to your event can't wear whatever shirt they want? If you haven't tried Nano-Extreme, you're missing out. I'm telling you, this is the best pain solution I've ever used. Talk to any of the people who've gotten it and listen to me. It works really good. Head over to Nano-Extreme, use code Cooksey and get free shipping. If you're working on your training program and you're not sure quite what to do, head over to Complete Racing Solutions. Coach Rob has express workouts for busy adults that don't have a ton of time. He's got specific programs geared toward youth because youth have a different physiology than adults. They have to train differently. And Coach is giving one of you members a $250 gift certificate this month. So for August, somebody will win $250 towards Coach Rob. So thank him for that. Very cool of Coach Rob. If you're shipping anything, use Precision Transport. This is a family-owned shipping company that if you work at a job and you use shipping companies, you know how difficult they can be. Do yourself a favor, hit up pretransport.com, let them handle your business's needs, and I'll tell you what, you will probably get promoted because they're that good. Pretransport.com.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So I had some mob members wearing Cooksey Media shirts at Unadilla. Thank you guys for that. You know who you are. I don't want to call you out because you're already getting enough crap from MX Sports. And the report that they're giving you guys is, how could you support anyone who's trying to tear down the sport, who's trying to tear down MX Sports? That's just not true. That is not true what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out the business of the sport. The athletes have fallen behind. The teams have fallen behind. The promoters have taken too much. There's an imbalance in the sport. And all I'm trying to do is make people aware of that. And yeah, I'm paying the price for it. They won't even let me buy a ticket and go watch races. But if you think I'm trying to tear down Feld, if I'm trying to tear down MX Sports, you're wrong. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying to do is correct an imbalance. The racers need good promoters, and MX Sports and Feld have done a really good job at promoting the sport, getting the Peacock TV deal. They have got the sport to a level where it looks really good, and it is a true professional sport if you're just watching it from TV. MX Sports and Feld have put in so much hard work in the presentation of the sport, but they forgot why we actually go watch these races. We go watch these races to watch the riders, to watch people chase the dream, their stories. Let me talk about women's for an example. Right now, if the women revolted and said, we're not going to race unless you pay a certain amount, that wouldn't work. They are not a valuable product yet. So MX Sports and Feld are of the idea, okay, so they're not valuable right now. If we build them up, we own them. They should never ask for anything, which is just not true. And while WMX is not a viable commodity right now, a good promoter could build these stories. They could build the hard work of these women who are riding at a high level right now. And in a few years, that WMX series might be worth something on an entertainment value. It might get something from streaming. It might draw in some major sponsors. And the promoters will get their money back. The problem is the promoters feel like they're 100% responsible for this success. And they are very much responsible for the success. They have to get it out there, they have to promote it. But you also have to have athletes who are willing to sacrifice everything, risk their lives, and chase the dream to get the promoters to that point. They're not seeing that side of it. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see is the promoters, yes, they are very much responsible for making the sport what it is today. But if you take the riders away, there's nothing. Every other sport that has revenue sharing, and every sport when it starts out, promoters struggle to survive, athletes don't make any money, but as they grow, the ones that grow the biggest grow together. The ones that fizzle out are the ones where one party takes all the money and the other one doesn't. If the promoters were going broke and all the riders were making money, the series would go out of business. But we're at the opposite end of that spectrum right now, where the promoters are taking all the money and the riders are only taking what they can earn from their own sponsors. And the promoters feel like they've earned this. But they're actually costing themselves money. Look at this chart. Look at the sports. When they include athletes in the revenue share, the entire pie grows. Everybody makes more money. The promoters need the racers need promoters. And what the promoter is failing to see are the efforts by the riders to support them, to help them build this into a marketable empire. These WMX riders are risking it. Look at what happened to Hayden Bennett. She's got a long recovery ahead of her because she was chasing the motocross dream. By the way, if you want to donate she's got a long recovery ahead of her. This is her, you click the link below, you can donate to her Road to Recovery Fund. But this empire that these promoters have built is on the backs of athletes like Hayden, like Jerry Robin, and everybody who's sacrificed to get there. Now the promoters say, oh, well, they make plenty of money from their sponsors. We gave them the platform. That's the equivalent of going out to dinner with somebody who makes a lot of money. They're not obligated to pay just because they make more money. You're all eating the dinner. You should all split up the dinner tab, unless you're a dirtbag and you just expect whoever has the most money to pay for it. That's kind of a dirtbag thing to do. That's what MX Sports is doing. They're saying, oh, well, they make money over there. That has no bearing on the overall business of the series. The series is based on entertainment value, sponsors, and this money doesn't necessarily need to be split 50-50, but the riders and athletes need a large chunk of it, 30 to 40% at minimum, to continue to grow this thing past being, it is what it is, it's a niche sport. The reason they say that is because it won't grow past that, because how do you have a professional sport when your athletes are taking handouts? You got guys like Bobby Piazza who have to sell motorcycle revs to make it to the next event. And this is a guy making the night show at Supercross races. And I have the detractors say, well, why don't you pay for privateers? Well, I would if I could. But there's two types of people in this world. There's the Gavin Newsoms of the world who will go in California and work at a soup kitchen and pretend like he's doing this great thing for the homeless population while he's serving at a soup kitchen. Meanwhile, he's robbing the fund blind and putting policies in that increase the homelessness in the area. I'm attacking the policies. I'm attacking the why. Yes, it's nice when people give back to privateers, but that doesn't fix the actual systemic problem in making this a profitable sport to compete in. And it's unacceptable right now with the amount of money that the promoters are making that they don't have trees covered with air fences. This is unacceptable. If somebody crossroads coming down this at the speeds that these guys are going, it could be fatal. But they don't care. It's going to take Jet Lawrence, Hayden Deegan, or somebody of that stature to have a fatality to really force them to start looking at this and make these changes. And until that happens, they're not going to feel the need to make these changes, and they're not going to get the pressure. They need to do this preemptively. I do not want to see a star or even a privateer end up hitting a tree and dying. Instead, what these promoters do is, okay, we're not going to fix the problem, but if we hide the problem, people won't know. They won't complain. They won't care. Look at Michael Mosman. Michael Mosman, this is brutal, but this is danger. This is the sport that we're in right now, but they won't consider the additional risks. And no matter how you do this sport, it's not safe. But it is bad seeing this guy get knocked out, lay there, and they try to hide it. Whoever released this video is probably going to get banned from the races because they hide it. Those are the types of things that I'm fighting. And I have paid the price. I cannot go to races, and that sucks. But I won't stop fighting for what I think is right and what I think is best for the sport. MX Sports, Feld, teams, riders, and fans. I want what's best for all of us. And I am not trying to tear anyone down, but I am pointing out inequalities that need to be fixed to allow this sport to grow. And this attitude that the promoters have of there'll just be more riders, well, you know what? There could be more promoters too. So you got to be careful on that one. You got to walk a fine line. You need to treat your athletes as partners, not as commodities or just somebody that just shows up and they're fortunate to be there. And that's what I'm fighting for. So when somebody says I'm trying to tear down MX Sports, that's a lie. They've done a damn good job at packaging this outdoor series and growing this to a level where it's worth millions and millions of dollars. Now I just want to see the riders and teams get what they've worked hard and sacrificed and laid in hospital beds for. They also deserve to be part of the uprising of this sport and the media conglomerate that it's become. If you want some high quality motocross gear that not everybody at the track has, hit up Alias MX. This is our 25.5 gear. There's a limited amount available, so you're going to want to move on it. Don't hang out because they are going to run out of specific sizes and colors. So if you want to get this gear, hurry. AliasMX.com. Ride Strapped, goggles, glasses, shirts, just a really cool company that I am so happy to be associated. Ride Strapped has been with me from the beginning. Chris is such a good dude and I appreciate them. So head over to Ride Strapped and check them out. So now to the on-track racing. Hayden Deegan, I was sure he was going to clinch this thing. The last thing you want is another week of championship stress. You got 28 weeks of racing, and after that time, you're exhausted. The last thing you want is championship stress. And that's the thing. If you listen to Coach Rob, he talks about, there's the athletic, there's the performance you do, but it's the stress, the not being able to wind down that really causes fatigue and wears dudes down. That's why dudes can go race off-season races, because there's not that stress. They don't get as burned out. But when you have 3 more real races, that stress amps up, and it's a lot more difficult to do 3 championship rounds than it is to do 3 off-season rounds that dudes are just having a good time at. And I can promise you, Deegan's bummed that he has another week that he has to worry about riding, practicing, making sure he doesn't get hurt in practice. It's not that he's not going to win the championship, because it's almost locked up. We've seen what happens. Eli Tomac had that Achilles tendon a few years ago. It's never clinched until it's actually clinched. And when I see Deegan out there riding, I'm sorry. I've watched his entire career, studied him, been wrong about him. But what I've learned about Hayden Deegan is this dude needs a challenge. And if he doesn't have a challenge, he almost looks bored or flat. His last year of Supercross Futures, he was supposed to win and win by a mile. And he went out in Anaheim and just looked average. I truly think it's because this guy needs a challenge. That's what Hayden Deegan needs. He needs people like me to tell him he can't do something, and then he's going to go do it. He does amazing things. That's why I think he's going to go 450 Supercross next year. The way he's looking right now, done with the 250, and he's already ridden the 450, so he knows how fast it is. He knows what the next challenge is. It is going to be a long Supercross season for Hayden Deegan, going out there racing guys that he thinks he shouldn't be racing when he sees Jet, Eli, Sexton, and all these guys in the 450 class, and he believes he should beat them. I just don't see him waiting that long. I just think after SMX, he's going to get on that 450, and I think he's going to ride it, and he's going to look so good, he's going to go with it for Supercross. And how about Joe Shimoda? This dude has fought through so much this season. He got hit with a pit board. He had all this off-track drama that the Lawrences brought his way. It has not been a fun year for Joe Shimoda. But for him to get through all that, and now he's the fastest guy. He's better than Hayden Deegan right now. He straight up handled Deegan at Unadilla. And a lot of people, and I was very critical of Joe when he was talking about going to the 450, but after seeing the way he's able to withstand the pressure, fix his weaknesses, this dude's going to be good on a 450. I bet you next year's his last year in a 250, and I think he's going to go to the 450 class and be an instant player. He will be a guy that battles inside the top 5 week in and week out. Any of these teams with a little bit older 450 riders, you might want to lock up Joe because he is going to be a hot commodity. You're going to have Deegan, but I think the next best 450 rider coming up will be Joe Shimoda. He's durable, he's got cardio, he fixes his weaknesses. Apparently he can ride under stress these days. Joe Shimoda is rock solid. Great job going 1-1 this weekend. And how about Tom Vial? I knew he was going to be good at Unadilla. I figured he'd be up there battling, leading some laps, ended up on the podium. I'll tell you what, just enjoy Tom. We got him for a few more races, and then he goes back to Europe. But I have thoroughly enjoyed having Tom Vial over in the United States, and I'm going to be sad to see him go. But I get it. If you don't have a good 450 ride, go back where you came from. Get the ride you can. And I don't think this will be the last of Tom Vial. I think if he goes back to Europe, we're going to see him for a couple of years, and then I think he'll come back again. I think if Tom Vial can go back to the GPs and win a championship or 2, I think you'll see him make another run, and possibly at Supercross. I think I could see him coming over and riding the first 6 Supercrosses every year, being that type of guy, and then going over the GPs. Kind of like the Coonan's contract right now. I could definitely see Tom Vial doing something like that. Seth Hammaker, oh my gosh, so close to an overall podium, he can taste it. He just doesn't have it at the end of the second motos. And I go all the way back to when he turned pro and Jeannie Carmichael ran him into the ground. He's never been the same. He's recovering, but that takes years to rebuild your adrenal system. But the talent's absolutely there, and I can't wait for him. In SMX, he's going to be tough because it's not quite that fatigue that you get from an outdoor motocross. Seth Hammaker might surprise some people in that. And how about Julian Beaumer? He's finally running up front outdoors. He had a horrendous season. He had that concussion at High Point where I don't know if his eyes were bad before or it knocked him bad, but he's had some struggles, but he doesn't make excuses and he just keeps fighting. Got himself a 5th overall. Good on him. And Garrett Marchbanks, the dude just penalizes himself every time off the start. He's passed so many people. His chest has to be torn up from the amount of rocks that hit him at Unadilla. I don't know how he does it. I hope he gets Jorge Prado's bike, because I think Jorge's going to be gone, and his contract allows Kawasaki to move him up to the 450 with 0 restructuring. I think that's going to work out for Garrett, and I think he's going to be a heck of a 450 rider, and I think it'll be next year. Thank you, members. I appreciate everything. One of you is going to win the Coach Rob $250 gift certificate. And then in December, we're giving away the new Power Sports XQi3 electric motorcycle to one of you members. You are all entered to win that. Thanks, guys. Here's your member of the day.
Let's start this off by saying, we got them. The illegal sale of American motorcycle racing. I present a case that reveals how the American Motorcyclist Association's 2008 sale of its racing properties constituted an illegal transfer of public trust into private hands. My name's B Mazy, and I'm here to stir shit up. So I made a song for you guys. You know, it's crazy that the riders still gotta pay to race, even though these guys are just filling their pockets because they're money-hungry, greedy, stupid mother, ex-circus owners, but still got the same mindset for the Supercross. Screw Feld, screw the AMA, and screw Rob Dingman.